Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our 2025 Mattioli Victorian Metro Long Course Championships. We are back in action today with a absolutely stacked program. We've got 50s, we've got 400s, got some 200-metre backstroke events in here as well. So we've got a great mixture up on the cards for us today. Coming off with an incredible first night last night, we saw some fantastic swims take place. We had some really great races coming down to the wire, and we're hoping to see some really solid heat swims this morning as these athletes are looking for a place in the top 10 to come back and race in finals tonight. My name is Kalia and I'm joined with Elliot. We are your commentary team this morning, and we look forward to having you with us until around 3 o'clock today when we conclude our heats.
Thank you for welcoming me. It's nice to be here. Sunny morning once again. Same problem as yesterday, staring straight into the eye of the sun. We are at the moment. I swear we could have used one of our sponsors on this side of the pool, Mountain Shade, because you see them all at the top of the screen over there when they pan to the pool. But we are on the grandstand side, so unfortunately it might be a bit tricky to see some of these swimmers to begin with. But we've got sunglasses, sun protected, and we're ready to go.
And I think the athletes are looking very ready to go this morning as well. We are kicking off with event 41 on the program, the men's 12 and over 400-metre individual medley. Now this event is a timed final with our fastest 10 athletes who will be coming back to race this evening. So the boys this morning, they're going to be trying to post a time within that top 10, score themselves some beautiful points for their clubs.
And I'll be on national time watch, as I was a little bit yesterday. I lost it towards the end, but hopefully I can point out when some of these kids get their national time or at least season bests for themselves.
It's a big job, but you're the man to do it as we get ready to get underway with Heat 1.
A lot of 12 and 13-year-olds in this race. In fact, only 12 and 13-year-olds in this race to start off. Now, obviously, you do expect that, being the first heat of the race. But these boys, they're just looking to get out there and warm up the body and get into the meet. And probably, I'm not going to lie, 12 and 13, I didn't really want to do a 400 IM.
I was about to say, this event is one of the more challenging ones on the program, and it is fantastic to see so many 12-year-olds represented. We also have a 12-year-old coming up in Heat 2 as well, so keep an eye on those boys, because this is a race that the more experience and practice you get, certainly the better you are and the better equipped you come into it. It is quite challenging. There's a lot of different strategies and race plans. We see a lot of these swimmers really try and play to their strengths, and we do know this first 100 butterfly is always going to be a challenge.
The 100 butterfly isn't as someone who did quite a few. The 100 butterfly isn't the worst part. It's what comes after it, because you're always so tired after the 100 butterfly. Anyone can do a 100 butterfly, but then following it up with 3 100s of different strokes, different muscle groups, by the end you're just an aching ball of mess.
But putting it out very quickly there in the middle lane, Patrick Whitwood, he's gone around in a 1:13.11, so he's got a substantial lead after that butterfly leg. Following him onto the wall was Teo He in a 1:17.29, and then it was Daniel Mancini out in lane 7 who went around in third. We tend to see these middle 2 100s being kind of the game changers within the 400 IM. I'm starting to notice more and more the backstroke leg. We often talk about the breaststroke being the real place to make moves, but the backstroke's becoming ever so more important within this 400 IM, and we see a lot of people shift gears in this particular lap.
Well, a fun fact for a lot of people is, especially back in 2008, is when I remember this stat was most prominent more than ever. Now it's starting to shift more towards the breaststroke. But the biggest correlation between two events that weren't the same stroke was 200 back and 400 IM. A lot of people, you think back, to those days where you had Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps dominating those two events, the 200 backstroke would lead into a good 200 IM, or 400 IM, should I say. It was very common for those events to be mixed together, and it is so important to keep yourself in the running in the backstroke, especially if you're a strong breaststroker and you know that you can swim over some of these guys in the freestyle and obviously the breaststroke. You need to make sure that you're in contention. You can't win it in the backstroke, but you can lose it.
as we've just seen a really nice backstroke led from Daniel out in lane 7. He's taken over the lead as we come into the turn for the breaststroke. Also, Oliver Seeley had a really good 100 there. He's moved his way into third. So it'll be Daniel, followed by Patrick, and then Oliver, who are taking us around. And we look to see who can start to make that little bit of a move down this breaststroke 100.
Exactly. And the breaststroke, you'll have many different tactics as we follow through the races and we go through the program and we see how many we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 5 heats this morning, depending on if we can get any more of the females to pull out, because I believe we're down to 11 and they
at last check.
Yes, so we might save ourselves a little bit of time there after starting about 15 minutes late today due to unforeseen circumstances. But as we see the tactics evolve, we'll see more people use their legs more predominantly in the breaststroke, which means you need to pull off of them in the backstroke. It needs to be an arm-dominated stroke.
As Patrick Whitwood just starts to make his way through back into the lead. He's got about 0.2 in front of Daniel Mancini down this second 50 of breaststroke, and the race is really going to be on between them as we turn for home, that last 100 freestyle. Seeing a nice breaststroke swim from Daniel Grubach over in lane 1 as well.
Yeah, this is a really good challenge being thrown down here by lane 7 with Daniel Mancini. 12-year-old from Eastern District Aquatic, goes around in 4 minutes 23. 48-second breaststroke leg there. That's very good as compared to Patrick with a 50-second. We'll see what Patrick's got left in the tank. He's looking straight at him right now, and we'll see if we can get a nice close race, if we can chase him down.
Yeah, we've seen Essendon produce a lot of really good 200-metre swimmers, so we know that they have that good, solid program. We should see a strong back end from Daniel, but Patrick, he is the fastest ranked coming into this race, so we have a nice little stroke-for-stroke challenge on our hands as we come down to that final turn. It will be still Daniel just ever so slightly in front onto the wall here. 5:03.82 separating him from Patrick. 5:04.29.
Patrick able to make up 0.7 of a second on that last 50, so he's definitely coming for him. He's throwing everything at him right now. We'll see if Daniel out in lane 7 can see him, because Daniel's looking at him right now, but he's also looking into the eye of the sun, so he might be getting blinded. Final 15 metres. You want to make sure that these skills are, even under pressure, they're up to date. So you want to put your head down for the last 5 metres. That's how the quickest finishes are done. And it is Patrick Whitwood that takes it out. 5 minutes 40.94. Daniel Mancini, 5:42. That is a beautiful 15-second PB out there for Daniel, and Patrick with a lovely 6-second PB. So well done to those boys. All of the heat under 6 minutes. Quite a few PBs in there. You love to see that for the first race of the day.
Absolutely. It's really setting us up for what's to come on our program as we move along now to our second heat of 400 IM for the boys 12 and over.
Unfortunately, just a bit of a mix-up with the start there. You forgot to say take your marks before pushing the button.
I was actually very impressed, though, that none of the boys started, so some really good skills being shown.
That did happen yesterday, actually, in the morning heat. There was a bit of a mix-up with the start. Oh, no, and the P and the whistle didn't quite work there either. Also, shout out to my mum, who's one of the officials. She's been demoted to inside. I'm waving over at her now.
I think that's a promotion today in the heat.
Yeah, but she got demoted after having a voice break during the start. She's pointing at me now.
She's gonna love that one. Hi, Sandra. We do have an incredible team of our technical officials here to make this meet possible. We thank them very, very much for the time that they dedicate to our athletes to make our times official across the weekend as the boys in Heat 2 turn the first 50 of their 400 IM. It is Michael Fan in lane 5, the swimmer from Melbourne Swimming Club, who's led us around in front of Matthew Brophy. And then sitting in third is Morrison White Gould out in lane 7. But these boys in the centre of the pool, they are the ones really pushing through this 100-metre fly leg, already separating themselves from the rest of the field early on.
We've got Andrew Spencer here in lane number 3 after coming off the back of a 200 breaststroke silver medal last night in the 12-13-year-old age group. So expect him to move through the crowd when it gets to the breaststroke leg.
100%. These athletes have so many events across the weekend as well and get the opportunity to showcase in this IM where their strengths lie. So we turn for the backstroke. It is still Michael out in the lead, followed by Matthew. And a crossover in lane 0, Alexander Cabral Barbosa. He's having a good little backstroke leg here too.
Lovely start. I'm liking the rotation out there in lane 5 from Michael Fan. He's getting his shoulders up nice and high, really extending, catching on the water nice and early. Got a great technique on him. I really like that. It's good experience from the young 14-year-old from Melbourne Swim Club.
I'm sure the Melbourne Swim Club coaches will be loving hearing that, because that is something we have been working on the last few weeks, that rotation.
It's very important to get good rotation, because it's not about what you do above the water, it's about what happens below the water. So the fact that you're getting your shoulder up nice and high, in swimming, whatever happens above the water, however much is above the water, needs to happen below the water. So if you're getting up high, it means you're getting real low and getting a really deep catch below the body. And we all know that there's a bit more density the further the water goes down. You don't want to be grabbing the surface of the water, because it's very wishy-washy. You're not really grabbing onto too much and your hand will just slice through.
As a solid backstroke leg there from Michael Fan, and as he pops up for his breaststroke, he's followed around by Matthew Brophy, not too far behind, but as we said earlier, a couple of really solid breaststrokers in here will be looking to start to work their way back into the field.
Something that's very tricky, and you don't necessarily see it consistently from all the swimmers across the board, especially seeing as some of the younger athletes are in here, but the flip turn, the thing that came in the last decade or so, made very famous by Ryan Lochte and Michael Phelps, where you reach over on your back, on your side, and then you flip on your side and then push over on your front. Very tricky skill to push off. A lot of people stick to the traditional bucket turn because it is much easier to do, much less chance of getting disqualified while doing it.
I think that crossover turn is really important if you do want to utilise it in your program. Start teaching it early, particularly the landing position, because that's where people come unstuck. They rotate too early. You must legally finish on your back at the conclusion of the backstroke, and that can be a fine line. We have seen people come unstuck at a worldwide level. I know Kayla McEwen, a very big example of that, and she just rotated too early. It can happen at all these stages, so if you start practicing it really young and just get that position onto the wall, I think that's the key. As we're just watching Matthew Brophy also have a really nice breaststroke leg and close the gap, but here comes Andrew Spencer as well. He's moved from about 5th on the turn after the backstroke up into that 3rd place spot as the boys go around for their freestyle. Not a lot separating them, about half a second between your leaders in lanes 5 and 4.
Very important to note, Andrew Spencer went out in 43 for that breaststroke leg. Most of these guys are sitting around that 47, 48, 49 trying to catch a breather after the backstroke. That's when Andrew Spencer made his move, went a 43 for that first breaststroke leg, 45 for the second, so really separated himself for the rest of the group. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to catch those front runners. Michael Fan is really putting a nice extension on the freestyle here over Matthew Brophy.
Now, you are on national time watch. I believe Michael is attempting to get a bit closer to his national time. He's just started really working these 400 IMs, trying to kind of claim them as his main race. So we will keep an eye on the time.
Needs a 17-second PB here. Unfortunately, he's just going to miss it.
But it is going to be a PB by the looks.
Oh, my word, it will be. He's got 20 seconds from now to get into the wall. He'll cruise into it. Unfortunately, just short of that national time, but an excellent effort here from Michael Fan.
Andrew Spencer flying down this freestyle leg as well. He's closed the cap on Matthew Brophy. It's not quite going to be enough from that first 200, but it will be Brophy in second onto the wall there, following Michael Fan at a 5:17.08. Matthew 5:24.44, and Andrew Spencer 5:26.04. And once again, just seeing some really solid drops in time here this morning. We've got those perfect racing conditions. It's nice and warm around pool deck. That's something that we need to keep an eye on in our heats. Often it can be a little bit cooler. We want our athletes to be warm and ready to race, and they're certainly putting on a show for us.
First 6 athletes to touch the wall there, all personal best. So well done from those boys. P in the whistle doesn't quite sound right for the official at the moment. Sounds like sounds like me as a 14-year-old, just voice breaking all the time.
I think it'll sound like me by the end of this competition with how many races we've got on our program. It is absolutely stacked. We've got just over 1,400 athletes competing across this 3-day championship meet, the 2025 Mattioli Victorian Metropolitan Championships. We also have a total of just under 4,500 splashes, I believe. That is a huge amount of swimmers entering the water for racing across these 3 days. And that's just our heats.
A lot of names to remember. Yeah, and they come back and do it again. Wow. 51 different clubs. I didn't know there were 51 clubs in Victoria.
Well, that's just Metropolitan Victoria as well.
Oh, my word.
As the boys in Heat 3 now coming down under the flags in the butterfly leg of their 400 IM. It will be Ishak Ismail in lane 4 who leads us through. We've seen him have a fantastic night of racing last night. He absolutely dominated his age group in multiple events. Following him onto the wall was Gavin Danny out in lane 7. Very solid butterfly from him. Looked nice and relaxed. Good to see. And third onto the wall there was another one of our Surrey Park swimmers in Aston Wilson.
Ismail went 3 from 3 last night in the competitions he swam in. He won the 100 freestyle, the 200 individual medley, which I hope will transfer to a beautiful time here in the 400, and he won the 100 butterfly as well. So you saw that dominance in the 100 fly. He's already
and
out
I think
ahead.
From memory in the 100 fly, he went about 54.9. It was a superb swim.
We'll have a check on that. For 13 years old, 54 would be a very, very impressive time. I'm going to guess 57.
I think he did 57 in the heat.
Okay. I'll be blown away. Absolutely blown away. But anyway, he is leading here. Gavin Dunny in second place, but his lead in front of the other boys is being chewed up over there in lane 2 by Daniel Vince.
My apologies, I've got the wrong age group.
Beautiful swim there from Ishak Ismail. Out there in first place. Second place will go to Danny Vince. Third to Aston Wilson. And fourth to Gavin Danny. Now you'd assume, I would just assume anyway, the 200 breaststroke was swum last night and we didn't see Ishak in there. Now,
it was the 100 freestyle, he went 54. I've lost my mind, that's okay. I did know he did a 54 though, 54.96 100 freestyle.
That's very impressive.
It was very impressive.
But I'm going to assume that since he didn't do the 200 breaststroke, that breaststroke might be his weakest leg. Then again, he looks like he's holding his own very well there. 46 seconds for that first split. But once again, the lead being chewed up by Daniel Vince with a 44 for his first 50 of breaststroke. He just looks like he's pausing at the top of the stroke here. So as I suspected, I think breaststroke might be his weakest leg, but you just see he pauses once he gets up to breathe. Whereas you can see over there, Daniel Vince, his head is constantly moving forward. And same down here with Gavin Danny. The head is constantly, you want to always be moving forward. You don't want to get up, stop, and then push again.
I think Daniel was another one of our athletes we maybe spoke about on that national time watch. He did need about a 10-second PB, I think, but we have seen some very, very fast swims here this morning.
He'd need to come back in a 105 or so to make that national time. We'll see what his first split is in the freestyle. It has to be 33 or under. Has to be, if he wants to stand a chance. Over there in lane 1 as well. Looks like is that lane 1? Yep, lane 1. Good move has been made by... Shoot, I'm sorry. I'm so bad with names.
He had a really good breaststroke, especially coming into the turn. So he really built up speed into the wall, and that can be transferred into the freestyle really nicely.
Unfortunately, Aston is just going to miss out on the national timing here once again, but hopefully we can get nice and close to that PB. But a 5:08.39, massive, massive PB by 5 seconds actually there from Ishak Ismail. So well done to the young man from Surrey Park. Galvin Danny, unfortunately, just coming in just outside his personal best, so unfortunately wasn't able to capitalise on that good butterfly and backstroke leg. Might get a bit tired, might need a bit of time to warm up into the day. But here we are with the final heat of the morning session of event 41, the men 12 and over 400 individual medley. The final heat will be swum as the final.
I think in this particular heat we've got a lot of fast butterflies in the outside lanes early on, so we might see some leaders from those outside lanes, and those middle lanes once again kind of dominated by some breaststrokers. Leon, great breaststroker, 200 breaststroker. Sammy Mills out in lane 6. He's had a fantastic meet, had a couple of finals last night, and hopefully he'll be trying to secure himself a little top 10 finish again.
Leon Vidal with a 0.33 reaction time. I believe 0.30 gets you disqualified for leaving too early. So really making the most, as in that's the ideal. You want to be as close to that number as possible without pushing over the limit.
It is a super fast reaction time. I think anything under 0.4 they take a bit of a look at usually. Generally in the 0.4s is an incredible start. So that is very fast off the blocks as we come down the second 50 of the fly leg of our 400 metre individual medley.
Now Chester Jacob, he's not swimming it. No, I was about to get excited because he would have only needed a half-second PB to make the national time in the 400 IM. But unfortunately not there. What I'm liking the look of is there's only one heat of the ladies 400 IM actually. I've just noticed that they've merged.
It means
the
we
two
have
heats.
combined.
We've saved some time, ladies and gentlemen.
We're good at that. I mean, we played a massive part, obviously, Elliot and I.
Yeah, we spoke to some people before it happened. Just pulled a couple of strings.
They listened to the commentary.
Yeah.
They jumped on KO. They were live on YouTube.
We were actually even suggesting that they build an 11th lane just so that we made it one heat. You know, nothing was off the table for us.
Take some notes from the outdoor 50 up at Chandler. 13 lanes.
Yeah.
We'll smash out more events. It'll be great.
You know what I've always wanted to do there? You know the big ski jump that they've got that goes down into the pool that they use for the Winter Olympic athletes? I really want to go off that one day because it looks like so much fun.
Absolute goals. And looking like absolute goals out in lane 3, Daniel Atkinson has really taken off in the backstroke here. As we come down to turn, he will be your leader. Keep an eye on those breaststrokers, though. They're all in a nice little group here. Patrick Forster going around in second, and sitting in third is Sammy Mills. So we'll see what these guys in the centre can do. I think they're going to be closing this gap pretty quickly on our third 100.
I had a quick chat to Sam Mills and his coach Mel Clamt. I used to work with her back at Nuttawading, but he says he's a strong breaststroker. Obviously a decent backstroker as well. He's put himself well in contention there, and right next to Leon Vidal, who actually came home with the 200 breaststroke silver medal in the 14-15 years. age
that
group
was
last night.
such a close race as well. He really put it out there. It took Milo Dressel de Bruin everything he had left in the tank to come up alongside him in that final 50, and they were stroke for almost the entire final lap. So it was a gutsy swim from Leon, but we know he has the legs in this breaststroke.
Unfortunately for Samuel, Leon's done well to overtake him, but he's just slipped down the rankings a bit there, gone from third down to fourth. Just needs to make sure that he can really pump this last 50, build into it, and then build into the freestyle, because they always say, however far you are behind in breaststroke, double it leading into the freestyle, because that's how much the difference is in speed between the two strokes.
Our leader's still doing well here. It's going to be close onto the wall between Daniel Atkinson and Patrick Forster, with Patrick just getting the touch there by 7/100ths. So nothing separating them, but that gap certainly closed, with Leon moving his way into third. And the guys now trying to chase down this final 100 metres.
We'll see how many of these boys can get under that elusive 5-minute time. We already have 3 of them under, with Harry Kumar, Leon Vidal and Daniel Atkinson. We'll see if any of the other boys can sneak under, because it's a big milestone to get. Having your 400 IM start with a 4 is always great news. They've
put themselves in really good contention here with the times they turned in. They all had to come around about 107s and 108s for most of them. So plenty of time when they've turned in 33s here, particularly for Daniel Atkinson. He's looking very solid.
19-year-old from Swimland. Looks like he stands a very good chance of getting under there from Patrick Forrester. As we come down to the final 5 metres. And it is Daniel Atkinson coming home in a 31.8. Very quick in with a total time. Oh, he's just missed it. No. Daniel Atkinson, 4 minutes 55.26. Patrick Forster, unfortunately, just misses out, 5 minutes 00.03. Devastatingly close. It's always tragic when you do such a long race to miss by such a small margin.
But it was a really solid personal best as well, which are hard to come by at 19 years of age. So we'll take a 5-second drop.
I would have done many unspeakable things for a 5-second PB at 19 years old. So, as we said, the 5th and final heat will be swum tonight in the final. However, the times they do this morning can potentially still win a medal if those times tonight aren't fast enough. So we'll see how they go tonight and compare it to this morning. And we'll have our overall winner based off of those swims. Now, the 3 heats have now been condensed down to 2, and the 2 heats have been condensed to 1 this morning and then 1 this afternoon. Same as the men's. Whatever times these girls swim this morning, this afternoon have to beat those times in order to get their medals. Unfortunately, just because they got rid of one of the heats, our athlete in lane 4, looks like Tori Clare, potentially. She has just been caught a little bit off guard by them moving the heat up, so she's rushing onto the block now. Oh, Beth, sorry.
Yeah, Bethany.
Bethany Forrester.
Sister of Patrick from the previous heat.
Ah, yes.
Both athletes from Swimland. Conduct a lot of training by themselves, though, as well, those guys, to fit in with their schedules. But apart from that, we've got quite a young field in this event as well. So we are stacked with some 12 and 13-year-olds.
Looks like lane 1 rocked up a little bit late as well, not getting the memo that they merged the heat. So we're just waiting on her. She's ready now, and we're good to go.
Yeah, they've also swapped poor Fiona from lane 8 across to lane 1, so I think she had to do the mad dash across the pool.
That might be the longest start I've ever heard in my life.
You're allowed to hold them for up to 5 seconds.
Wow.
That is the cutoff. If it's any longer than 5 seconds, you must stand down or restart the race.
Wow. Is that actually true?
Yeah.
I did not know that. If it's any more than 2, I start getting pissed off. That was wild. I've never heard a start take that long.
No, at National Age last year, there was quite a few longer holds on the starts, particularly in the backstroke events. So really good note for coaches, especially if you've got athletes competing at Nationals for the first time, to practice those race starts and actually being able to hold your start position for a longer period of time. I used to get my athletes to time and just hold for 10 seconds and just practice that so that we're really confident in being able to hold for up to 5.
Yeah, well, that's the thing in backstroke, that because it's such a hard position to hold and it takes a lot of energy to hold yourself up above the water, a lot of people try and be the last one up, and when everyone tries to be the last one up, nothing happens for about 3 or 4 seconds, so that's why they have to hold so long. However, I believe that they've started changing it and started resetting so that if you aren't up quick enough, you can at worst get disqualified, but most likely it's told to you.
You usually get a warning, so the ruling is now, I believe it's interfering with the starter's signals or not obeying the starter's signals. So when the starter says take your marks, you are expected to take your marks. And if you aren't doing that, you are disobeying the starter's signals. Yeah,
and it's mostly taken off vibe. There's not like they're sitting there with a stopwatch going, oh, he's at 4.9, he hasn't gotten up by 5 seconds. But it's mostly taken off vibe. If you are clearly up so much later than everyone else, then they might come over and have a word to you. But as we move through now, the 150-metre mark, it is Simone Way leading out there in lane 2, taking it nice long strokes in this backstroke and getting good purchase on the water. And in lane 4, we have Bethany Forster.
So there are leaders. It's very close between the two Melbourne Swimming Club girls for 3rd and 4th. They both turned in a 1:59. And we're just starting to see Kimberly push her way up in front of Zoe with our leader. Still Simone Way as we come into that turn from backstroke to breaststroke. You can make up a lot of ground on the turn here if you can get some solid speed into the wall and a nice underwater. And we've just watched Bethany, who turned in 2nd, but she's actually popped out of that breakout in 1st. So really solid turn and underwater from her. And we're just starting to see Kimberly push her way up alongside in the breaststroke as well.
I did notice Kimberly had a very good back to breast turn. That actually was very clean, nice on the side, did the flip turn, very minimal splashing, so wasn't moving a whole lot of water around her, just got in and out really quick, in and off the wall. So she did a very good job there. You were speaking earlier about Bethany Forster and her brother, both from Swimland. You said that they do a lot of individual work by themselves. Do you know why?
Yeah, I mean, I can't confirm right now, but about 6 months ago, they were definitely doing a fair bit of stuff to fit in with university and studies and things like that. When you get to those sort of older age groups, it can be a little bit more challenging when you start working as well. Quite often, people work within the sports industry, and those training sessions and things can correlate at the same time as when your particular individual training is. So,
well, especially for a non-professional sport like swimming, there's very few athletes, especially in Australia, who earn enough money to make a living off of it. So a lot of these guys have to do a lot of time managing, up early, bed late at night, just to try and make their dreams come true in the pool. And even if it's not about getting to nationals, it's about having certain goals that you can achieve along the way.
So very, very solid breaststroke leg there from Kimberly Chen in lane 5. She's only now 0.1 behind Bethany Forster in lane 4. And they're pretty much going to be racing down this final 100. Turning in 3rd is still Simone Way. So she's still up there. She put it out fast early and she's managed to hold on through that breaststroke. And following her onto the wall was Allegra Bombardier, as these girls now heading down for their final straight in the 400 IM.
Kimberly putting a great leg there on the breaststroke. I just wonder if she spent a bit too much energy, and Bethany has just pulled away in this freestyle out in 36.8 for that first 50 compared to Kimberly's 38.2. So just a bit too much pace from Bethany here. We'll see if anything can happen in this last 50 where looks like Kimberly will be looking directly at her, but Bethany's just pulling further and further away. Great freestyle leg from her here.
Yeah, she's really up that stroke rate. You can just see her powering through the water. That's probably the main thing in a 4am is just to keep the rate and keep hold on the wall. Get that purchase nice and early in the catch. Kimberly just doesn't quite have that yet. She is only young, just, if I'm correct, just 12 years of age. So to finish second there, very, very solid effort, as Bethany will take out our heat 1 of our 400 IM in a 5:29.67. Kimberly Chen in second, 5:31.69, and Simone Way finishes off in third at 5:35.56.
Well, congratulations to all the athletes this morning. I know that 400 IM is not the first thing you want to start your day with. 400 IM
what
before 9 o'clock.
What are you talking about, Elliot? We love
IM
the 400
before
IM.
9 a.m.? My word. National Opens, you don't start racing till 10. Oh.
Forget breakfast. We are absolutely eating this up. I love it. Love it.
Great swim there from Bethany Foster.
Well, we're gonna absolutely mix it up for our viewers now. We're switching from 400 IM, one of our longer distance races, the furthest we swim for our IM, into event 43. This is the boys 11 and under 50-metre breaststroke. So it's the young guns hitting the water for a speedy 50 of breaststroke.
I don't want to insult her, but we're going from Bethany Foster, 22 years old. We've got an 8-year-old in this heat now. Wide range of ages here at the Metro Championships today.
Very, very exciting for the future of our Metropolitan swimming. This is 11 and under, so you can be any age under 11 to qualify as long as you get that qualifying time, which looks like it's at around 47.47. Those are our 2 athletes both on that time into this race. And these are timed finals for our 11 and unders. So our 4th and final heat of this race will be our top 10 seeded athletes, and they'll be all looking to get themselves a medal this morning. We don't make our 11 and unders come back and have to race again. 1 and done is enough for those guys, and as they get a little bit older, they'll get that opportunity to practice racing heats and finals.
And we are underway with the first medal to be handed out today in heat. Well, you'd expect it to come from Heat 4. Our fastest qualifier is Zane. Oh, gosh.
Our fastest qualifier is Zane Metne.
Yep, that looks about right. From Furbank Aquastars, 38.56. I'm really worried. They're going to need someone else to call out names tonight.
It is a tough job, but a few of these athletes we are going to be seeing a few times over the weekend, so we'll make sure that we get the correct pronunciation, because very, very important. Your name is everything that you are. As we come down in this first heat, our winner, Shun Gill, in a 43.99. So that is a spicy swim to kick us off there, with about a 3-second personal best from Shun. Following him onto the wall was Otto Piper, and then in third, Hugo Gibson.
Great to get under that 45-second barrier, but he didn't just get under the 45, he got under the 44 as well.
Snuck it in there, he'll love it. It's actually a really nice underwater there from Leonardo Hernandez in lane 6. He got away very well. Up alongside him is Jasper Feng in lane 7. So these outside lanes getting off and underway quickly early.
Once again, a quick reaction time, 0.35 from Leonardo out in lane 6. They come down to the final 5 metres. We'll see if he can make that extra 0.4 that he got over Jasper Feng on the start count.
Very, very close.
Oh, lane 7's touchpad didn't work, so they'll need to refer to Hawkeye, which is the camera above the pool, to see what time Jasper Feng would have gotten.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have this pretty incredible world-class technology that we utilise to make sure that no one has to swim again if the touch pads don't work, which used to be something that happened every now and again, and we will get those times. It looked very close. It's hard to say. Both our athletes just slightly touched under the water, so we'll await those results. But either way, 44 seconds was around the time they both did. So once again, 2-second personal best from our 11 and unders.
As we move in here to Heat 3, a lot of these kids, they'll be wanting to post times that will be good enough to get themselves into the final. If you're not in the final, you want to get there. If you're in the final, you want to work towards a medal. So these kids here want to be posting times that might get them into that top 10, either in next year's competition or just for themselves, having a personal best. I
certainly know a lot of my junior athletes really love that ability to go and check on Meet Mobile and see how many places they've moved up, and it can be a really, really big shift, as we're just seeing Yi Yang over in lane 2. This is a great breaststroke swim from him, 40.92. Incredible time. Miguel Labanco in lane 3 touches in second, 42.29, and then it was Joshua Condon over in lane 6 who finished in third at a 43.33. Now that 40.92 actually does exactly what you're talking about. It puts him well and truly in that contention to finish in the top 10 with only about 5 or 6 athletes who are faster than that on entry time.
Lane 9 there, Roy's son. It's me.
Roy's son?
Yeah, my dad's called Roy.
This is our fourth and a final timed final of the 11 and under 50 metre breaststroke. It was a good, quick beginning for George Zeng over in lane 3. He was out well, trying to mow him back down. Is Zane Metne in lane 4, but it is still George with 15 metres left to swim.
George has got a great extension in his breaststroke. You can see him moving forward through the recovery, so his legs are doing a great job of pushing his body forward. But here comes lane 4 and Zane Metne.
A little bit of that extra power and that surge in that final stroke from George Zeng, a swimmer from Yarra Plenty Waves, taking out that one, 38.27. Zane finished in second, 38.46, and it was Andy Zhu over in lane 7 who finished with the bronze.
What did the heat before go?
40.93.
Oh, just missing out on that medal. 40.3 or 40.29. So still in that 40s. So well done to Yi Yang in the heat before, who definitely put himself in contention for that medal from a different heat. Who knows what he could have done if he was next to those athletes and racing them.
Absolutely. We look forward to watching his progression over the next 12 months.
We move on now to event number 44. It's now the females' turn, the 11 and under 50 metre breaststroke. 5 heats this time, as we look to see who will take out the medal this morning. Angelina Shang in lane 5. 3 silver medals yesterday in the heats. I wanted her to get a gold, but unfortunately just missed out each time. Let's see if she can make it happen this morning. However,
Angie is such a funny kid. She's really been working on her starts, so we'll be looking forward to seeing how her dives go. I think once she can really nail those, it's going to be certainly an advantage for her.
If I remember correctly, she's going up against Erin Paris. Erin was behind at the 50 metre mark, but finished really well in the 100 breaststroke yesterday. So let's see if Angela does have that speed in the 50, or whether Erin was just backing off to use her energy in the back end. We come down here to the final 5 metres. Lily Egan is leading the race, and will touch the wall first in a time of 45.37.
Always fun ones, these first heats with 3 or 4 athletes. It almost feels like that little atmosphere of a swim-off vibe. You've got only a couple of competitors. It's always that little bit more an extra race against who's next to you.
If you actually want to see the best single performance that your athlete can do, put them against one other person. In a group of 10, you think, oh, I can hide if I don't do a good time because there's 9 other people that are looking. If it's you versus one other person in a swim-off, I dare you to show me a swim-off that was slower than the actual swim that happened before it.
Never happens, as we're watching.
Always faster.
Hannah Kang out in lane 8. She's putting on a great show here from the outside lane. Had a really solid starting 15 metres, but those girls in the middle just starting to make their way through now. It's a sea of Nunawading athletes here as we come down with 5 metres left to swim. They're stroke for stroke onto the wall here. It will be Una Lim who finishes in first, 44.83, with Jessie McDuff in second, and then Joyce Zao in third.
We move on now to Heat 3. The athletes here hoping to post some quick times that might hopefully rival the heat in front of them. That's always the goal with these early heats. Just try and move yourself up the ranks. And obviously the point of the later heats is to stay in those ranks or improve on those ranks again. Here we come down to the final 15 metres of this 50-metre breaststroke. Lane 1 and 0 having good swims out there. Ashley Chen and Danica Grant. But lane 4 looks like she's powering through. Christine Chi Vong finishes second on the wall. Ashley Chen gets the win in a time of 43.38. Congratulations. Taking off 2.1 seconds off her personal best. So a very impressive swim there from her. We move on to Heat 4. We'll see if these girls can do something similar to what Yi Yang did, where he got his name well and truly up there in the ranks by having a good swim in the heat before. They get off the blocks. Lane 3, Christina He was a little bit slow off the start. Announcement going over the loudspeaker that the timeline has just been updated, so make sure that everyone checks the new timeline so that you can see when your athlete is swimming. The last thing you want is someone missing their race. After a great start there in lane 4, unfortunately Elena Wang has fallen back a little bit. Looks like lane 6, Chloe Lin might take out the win here. She gets her hand on the wall first, 41.64. That time should rival some of the people in the final heat. You do have 3 athletes under that 40-second barrier, so we'll see how close that can get. We've got 3 10-year-olds coming up in the final heat out in lanes 9, 8 and 0. So the outside lanes, the inner lanes are taken up by those 11-year-old athletes. Erin Paris going without a race suit here. See if she can still get the job done. The glide that she has is absolutely stunning. This is what I was speaking about yesterday to any that were listening yesterday. By gliding at the front of your stroke, it is free speed. You're not slowing down. If you can extend out the front, then you can really have a nice, easy stroke that can get you through the water. Benefits much more in the 200-metre race, but here we come down to the final 10 metres. Looks like Angelina Shang is going to get her first gold medal of the competition, powering through to the final 5. Bit rushed on the touch, but a time of 37.98 to take out that gold medal final after 3 silvers yesterday. She looks over the moon, happy with her swim. 38.59 in second place for Erin Harris there, and third place out in lane 0, one of those 10-year-olds that I was talking about, 39.7. Catherine Yim, congratulations to the 10-year-old from Nunawading, 39.77.
Very solid, and under the 40-second mark, always a great barrier to break.
Well, it took her over 24 hours, but she finally got her first gold medal. Congratulations, Angelina Shang, one of my swimmers of the meet yesterday.
Just pacing herself.
just stat padding. Just building up the collection of medals.
Just writing the articles for herself.
Oh.
Journalist dream.
4 from 4. All right, we got 5. Oh no, we got 9 heats here. My word, 9 heats of the boys 14-15 100-meter freestyle.
Just the 3 athletes competing in the first heat. We've got 2 side by side, and they're almost stroke for stroke, but doing very well out by himself in lane 6 is Kobe Walker. Looks like he's going to get his feet on the wall first as we turn at the 50-meter mark in the 29.93, so just under that 30-second barrier. Already setting himself up very well to try and do a nice personal best. The boys in this event all sitting around 104s.
Especially once we start getting to those later heats of 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, I'm going to be on national time watch.
100%. We've got some great freestylers within Victoria, so these 14, 15-year-olds, I'm sure, will do a fantastic job. As Kobe Walker there, 101.44, followed on by Benjamin Chan, and then Billy O'Brien finishes off in 3rd from Heat 1.
Great improvement there from Kobe Walker. 3-second personal best for the young man. As we move into Heat 2, that time of 101 would rival some of those boys, even up in Heat 4. So really moving up the ranks there.
It's good to see when these athletes, they almost shift gears. It's all of a sudden everything clicks. You know, what we've been working on at training and timings of races. And it all comes together for a nice 3-second personal best, as we've just watched Kieran Pauls in lane 3 turn into 28.35. So he's going out very, very fast. It's about 1.5 seconds quicker than we saw Kobe go. So we'll hopefully see him start to challenge that minute mark. He's still looking very strong down this second 50. Not far behind is Kobe Comerford. So Kobe seems to be the name to have to swim fast in these early heats of 100-meter freestyle. Also doing well out in lane 8 is Lachlan Duncan. Those are going to be our 3 who are very close together onto the wall, with Kieran there hitting that 100.88, Kobe 101.75, and Lachlan 101.69.
Very good swim. Just missing out on that sub-60 barrier there. It's a massive milestone to try and get. So congratulations to Kieran Pauls. It's one step closer.
It is a big milestone, and it also can become quite a mental challenge as well. I know a lot of athletes who have hovered around that 100.0 something for a long time, and usually when they break it, they almost skip 59 entirely and go down to a 58, because it just becomes such a sort of a headset and a mindset way of approaching it.
The other thing that I see very often, it's much more common a 59.99 than a 1 minute .00. Somehow athletes just know. They just know that extra 1/100th of a second.
They make sure they keep their fingernails nice and long onto the touch. So Benjamin Van Dyke over in lane 2, he led us around at a 29.12. Not quite as fast as the previous heat, but he's looking really nice down this second 50. Good little battle for second and third between Ayan Gosini and Tiger Yuntai Ma. As we come down under the flags, it will be Ben who takes out Heat 3. Oh, and we talk about those 100.0. He's gone 100.02.
Oh, no. And he's devastated as well. Look at him float in the water backwards.
That's the commentator's curse.
Oh, no, we've done it.
Ayan finished in second there. All right, boys, come on, Heat 4.
Someone's got to do it.
These boys are all hovering around 100 mark. And I'm keen to watch. Someone better do it.
Someone's doing it. No, I'm calling it now. Someone's doing it.
Make it happen. Some solid underwaters in this race. Nice, a few of these boys starting to hold under a little bit longer. We see at that elite level, the entire 15 metres can be utilised for that underwater section of the race. Not a lot separating the field. Looks like it could be lane 2 or lane 7 as we go into the turn. It is Bowie Jones out in lane 2, 28.50.
All right, here we go. Boys out in 28.5. That means that if you want to come back within that second and a half, that's the Goldilocks zone. You want to be out in a time and come back within at least 2 seconds of it. They should get under here. Lane 5 and lane 2 leading the way.
Tommy Hoon, Bowie Jones coming down under the flags. Looks like Bowie might hold on. He gets the touch. 2 of them have done it. Great work, boys. Bowie 59.39, Tommy 59.53, and James Clare 100.22.
Next step for these boys is that national time. So Tommy Hoon there, 14 years old, just needs to drop another second and 1.5 seconds. He's under the national time. He's already dropped a second and a half there. So who says he can't do it again? All right, this is where I start really having to work hard because there's 14 and 15-year-olds with separate national times. So the 14-year-old national time is a 58.10 and the 15-year-old national time is a 56.03. So a big, or 56.33. I've written it down wrong. No. So a big drop off there. From 14 to 15 years old. They expect big improvement.
It seems to be the age where a lot of these athletes start to really develop. We see those growth spurts. We see them get into the gym a little bit more, build up some muscle mass. Having a fantastic swim is Valen Gray out in lane 7. He turned in a 27.43, so he set himself up nicely, trying to hold off the rest of these boys. As we come down now, 15 metres left to swim. They've closed the gap a little bit, but he's still looking very, very solid, and he's dragging these boys in lanes 8 and 9 along with him. It will be Valen Gray onto the touch there. 58.72, James Lane in second, 59.76, and Aiden Ramos in third, 59.95.
I wonder if that has anything to do with these 3 lanes over here are in the shade, and all those lanes over there are in the sun. Who knows? Anything's possible.
You could be onto something here,
Anything's possible.
We also do tend to see, if you've got someone next to you who's really pushing it out, it is going to make you get a little bit fiery. You're not going to want to be beaten by a long distance in 100 freestyle. And I think also that can play a part in, you might actually think you're behind or slow. If someone's gone out that quickly, you might panic and almost go, oh, I really need to get a wiggle on here. And those boys have really tried to close the gap down that second 50 on the lead that Valen got in that 27.4 on the turn. Yeah,
if you're in lane 8 and you're thinking, wow, I'm this far behind lane 7, you might be thinking, oh no, I'm about to come dead last. But then lane 7 wins it by about 2 seconds and you go, oh wow, I actually just had a good swim there.
Some more fast times in the first 50 from our outside lanes, with Gabriel Wong turning in a 27.8, followed by Ashton Clements over in lane 0. He's putting on a great job, so we must still be able to swim fast in the sun.
Oh, he might be partially protected by one of our sponsors, Mountain Shade, over there that you'll see at the top of the screen.
Gabriel's still leading us through. Campbell Mills trying to fight his way back into this race alongside Gabriel. They look like they're going to be up there, but it will be Ashton Clements over in 0, 58.02, and that is
Ladies
the first
and gentlemen,
one.
We got one. We got one. He's splashing the water. He's stoked with himself. Well done, young man. He's gotten under these national time. That is awesome to see. He's off to Adelaide. I do wonder whether he had other national times and whether this is just another string that you can add to the bow.
A great job nonetheless, with Gabriel and Campbell just milliseconds away from that national time. So very solid from those guys as well. We're starting to get to the pointy end now. It's heat 7 hitting the water. Great start in the middle of the pool by none other than Eli Billman. Incredible butterfly. We know he has those awesome underwaters. Does not surprise me at all to see him out leading early on here.
Yeah, he's coming off a gold medal last night in the 100-metre butterfly. So we know he's a power athlete. Butterfly's a power stroke, so he's a powerful boy. Getting around there in first place in a time of 26.88. Closely followed by Matthew Moran in a time of 27.01.
Yeah, at States we saw him actually do butterfly in a freestyle relay, which some people were a bit surprised by, but his 50 fly time was 25.08, I believe, or 25.05.
My word.
He holds the state age record, so...
My word, look at the extension he gets out at the front of his stroke, really reaching for the water and grabbing, getting a hold straight on it, and not letting his hand drift out and glide too much, straight onto that catch. Beautiful freestyle stroke from the young man.
55.02 for Eli, followed on by Matthew Moran, 55.81. He had a great 800 last night. So he's come off the back of a distance event straight into this sprint. And Daniel Nguyen finishes 57.04 to take third out of Heat 7.
Looks like Jordan Sylvia just snuck under the time as well with a 57.9. Congratulations to the young man. That is another national time. Benjamin King, let's see, hold on. Lane 6, 57.9. Already had it.
Too good. They're too good now.
Well done to Jordan Silva.
We're sort of seeing that across the weekend so far. It's taking being well under a national qualifying time to make some of these finals.
Yes.
Particularly with the dual age groups.
That means that Swimming Victoria is in a good position. We've got a lot of young talent coming up through the ranks, and I know they've put in a whole lot of new initiative programs for athletes to try and reach, sending athletes to America. Gosh, I can't remember. They do a lot of camps out in the country to make sure that they're involved as well.
100%. Our Pathways program's just been extended, so we've introduced 2 new Pathways squads. I know a little bit about it, obviously getting to work with SwimVic, but there's plenty more information available. You can check out and try and get access to those squads because the information and the sessions they're providing are really, really fantastic. As Leo Dong there, 53.75 from the man in the middle of the pool. Ivanhoe Aquapower in front of William Tan, 55.04. And Lemuel Janasa over in lane 3, touching in third, 55.98. Which brings us to...
I think lane 3's just got his national time.
Incredible.
Another one. That's another one. Well done. The 15-year-old from Nuttawading Swimming Club. The mule. Melbourne Swim Club dominating the middle of the pool here. Lanes number 1, 2, 3, 4, and is 5. 5 is in, yes. 6, the lone Nuttawading swimmer has decided not to turn up.
It's a Melbourne Swim Club party down this first 50. Luca Brown had a really nice underwater, got out well. He'll turn into 26.35 ahead of Gianluca and Julian, both around that 26.7. And it'll be Will Luo in third.
The 3 fastest athletes in this 100 free this morning were also the 3 fastest in the 100 fly. With Eli Billman, Leo Dong, and now we have Luca Brown. So we'll see if they can go first, second, third tonight as well. Ian Pope looks like he's working the stopwatches over to my left, and I think they're filming it because they've got so many athletes, and they'll watch it back a couple of times to make sure each athlete does it correctly. First there for Luca Brown in the middle of the pool. Just scanning through, trying to see if I can find any more national times.
The exciting part for these boys is if they are in that top 10.
Harvey Lee. Sorry to interrupt. Harvey Lee has just got his national time. Congratulations to the young man.
They do get to come back and race again in the final tonight. So a couple of those 15-year-olds, I think, are sort of hovering around that 56 barrier, can have an opportunity to swim it again. When the finals atmosphere does make that little bit of a difference sometimes. You get your name announced. Heard there's a really good announcer on tonight. No, it's you, Elliot.
No, it's not me. I'm going to have to pull out of it. I can't even just get through a simple name. I freak out. It's like a kid reading a book and trying to show his mum. It's like, is that how you pronounce it? Is that the right word?
Very fortunate your commentary skills are better than your reading skills there now.
Yeah, I'm much better off the cuff when I can just talk about what's in front of me rather than having to read something.
As we hit the water now, it's the girls' turn for the 14-15 years 100-metre freestyle. We have 10 heats of girls, so they've just tried to outdo the boys slightly. From 9, we move up to 10 heats.
Have an extra 13 athletes compared to the boys here.
You're all over it with the numbers this morning, Elliot. I love it.
Oh, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces of paper in front of me.
As a visual, I enjoyed that Elliot just counted on his fingers, but we are moving through. It was a really great start. Out in lane 8, Ava Neal. She turned into 31.81. About half a second ahead of the other girls in this race, and she's holding on to that lead with 15 metres left to swim. Starting to move her way through. Isabel Mills in lane 6 as we come down under the flags. Looks like Ava's done enough early on. She'll take out heat 1 in a 107.44 with Isabel Mills finishing in second, 107.99.
We love the outside smokers in the early heats. I love them. My favourite thing, Kieran Perkins back in the 1996 Olympics. 1500 from lane 8. Just sneaks into the final, just sneak under the qualifying time, blow the competition away. You love to see it.
It doesn't matter how you do it, just get it done.
Exactly. I really hope 1996 is correct. I kind of just guessed that
Might
one.
have just insulted him, no. It sounds correct.
Sounds correct. It's either 96 or 92. It's 50-50. I should really know because 1500 was one of my main events.
As the girls get underway in heat 2. Once again, some quick reactions, and we do tend to see that in these 100-metre races. We're trying to be super fiery off the start and explosive, get that power into the air so that we can utilise it through that first 15.
I wonder if they've upgraded the technology on the blocks, because I swear that anything under 0.5 was considered obscenely fast back in my day. Or maybe I was just slow. But
if you do a
0.7,
1500, you probably consider that getting the fastest reaction in the pool is probably not your main priority.
Yeah, but 0.7, 0.8 seem to be a normal time. There's a lot of 0.4s
That's slow,
with kids nowadays. Is it?
It's definitely slow.
I thought it was normal.
0.6 is standard. 0.5 is good. 0.4 is fast. 0.3 is obscenely fast.
Right, I've never... yeah, okay.
And speaking about obscenely fast, out of heat 2, I should say, Ali Hutchinson, 105.69. It's about a 4-second personal best for her in front of Charisse Chan, 107.67. And then we finished off with Zoe Brightwell in third from lane 9.
Lane 4, 5 and 7 missing in this heat, but the national times we're looking for here is 67.02 for the 14-year-olds and 61.15, so not as big of a drop as the males had, because you just plateau a little bit. What?
You said 67, 62.
Oh, sorry.
And for those of you that don't follow along with swimming specifically, that's a 102 when we're announcing it.
Oh, yes. God, I'm talking in like...
Coaching, swimming lingo.
Yeah, swimming lingo, yes.
I'm speaking
Swimming
in crazy lingo. So
It's early.
We're just warming up here.
Yeah.
Big morning ahead of racing. A lot of these athletes, multiple events for the morning session, looking to come back, race again in finals tonight. All these events, top 10 make it through, so we take 10 finalists. Looking great down this second 50 is Tatum Grant over in lane 1. She turned in second, pushed her way up into the lead, trying to hold on is Yvette Hoyne out in lane 9. She'll get the touch for second, and Alia Parsons finishes off in third. All those girls, 107 for Tatum, 108.6 and 108.7 for Yvette and Alia.
Once again, some excellent PBs. All the swimmers under 110. Oh, unfortunately, we've had a disqualification in lane number 2 for Isabella Donahue.
She looks a bit confused about it as well, so we'll wait and see what that one was for. She's
asking the coaches. She looked over at coaches and asked what for. We'll find out later when it is called out over the loudspeaker.
Freestyle, there's not a lot of things we can have disqualifications for. The main disqualifications happen on the blocks. So it could have been moving on the blocks. After the officials have said or asked you to take your marks, you have to be perfectly still. You can't flinch. And then the other one is obviously leaving before the starter signal and going further than 15 metres underwater. Beyond that, there aren't too many other things that a championship event like this that we'd really see. You know, basic things like you can't pull on the lane rope or stand up on the bottom, but definitely that we didn't see that happen.
I feel like I would have noticed if she went about 20 metres underwater.
Yeah, I didn't notice either, but what I have noticed is a very, very fast first lap by Geneva Carabina in lane 9, turning in a 30.65. She's 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. She's probably looking across wondering where everyone is because she is breathing towards the field down this second 50.
I like the breathing threes. Oh, she's a bit erratic with the breathing. I saw her breathe 5, then a 3, then a 2, then a 4, then a 2, then a 2. Just need to make sure you get into a nice rhythm down the back end, but obviously when you get down to that last 15 metres, all you want to do is get oxygen into your body. She
did hold her breath from flags to wall, so she certainly gets brownie points for that. And the time there, 106.38. Fantastic swim from her. It was Zina Mohammed Gad finishing in second and Tiana Rakchik that finished in third.
This next heat, they're all around that high 106 to mid 107 mark. Obviously, you always hope for a close race, but you also hope that a lot of these girls smash their PBs out of the park. So we'll see how they go. Nice along underwater there for lane 7, Alison Doe.
Yeah, she had a good underwater, but really moving her way through in this first 25 is Ella Weber in lane 6, as well as, once again, Amelia Greaves over in that lane 0 mark. So 0 and 1, not too far off the pace here down this first 50.
That infraction that we were just reading about is about to get read out. As we continue here with the 5th heat. So as we were speaking about before, starting before the starter signal, that means that she most likely had a small movement on the blocks. Once you get into your ready position, you need to make sure that you hold that position. You can't then move slowly or quickly into another position before starting. So a 105.49 there for Ella Weber, taking out the 5th heat. We now have 5 to go.
5 down, 5 to go for the girls. 14-15 years, 100-metre freestyle here at our 2025 Mattioli Victorian Metro Long Course Championships. It is our day 2 heat session. We have our finals beginning at 5 p.m. this evening. All of these girls looking to secure themselves a spot in the top 10 to come back and race for those medals later on today.
And you can catch it on the YouTube live streaming, where it's under the Swimming Victoria channel, or you can watch on KO Freebies. So welcome to viewers from both streaming services. First swimmer down to the wall in a time of 30.27. Ava Thickens took a breath on her last stroke, and I don't mean like on her last stroke. She finished her last stroke, then took a breath to the side and then flipped. So just need to make that a little bit more efficient, but it doesn't matter because she's absolutely destroying the field at the moment.
Certainly keep an eye on the times here.
Oh, this could be close.
It's a solid
63.
swim.
103 here.
It's fast onto the wall. 103.07. I thought she was just going to sneak under, and I was about to say, oh, no.
I know my swimmers. Well, that is a brilliant 2.5 second PB. She now gets about a second away from that national time, so just a little bit more to go. maybe fixing up that turn, and she might get real close to that. I don't know if she's swimming next week in the last chance competition, which is the last chance to qualify for age nationals.
I love how original at naming comps we are.
Yeah, the last chance meet. Well, I mean, hey, it's direct. It's to the point. You know what you're getting.
Really nice underwater there from Mika Tharpe in lane 6, the swimmer from Ivanhoe Swim. She popped up like a whole half body length in front of the other girls, but we're just starting to see them make their way up alongside her now with Gemma Sullivan, whose touchpad's gone off a little bit early.
Yeah, unfortunately, when some of the athletes can set their blocks, they set their kicker behind the starting block, they can unfortunately stand on top of the touchpad, which will activate it. So I believe the touchpad activates when more than a kilogram of pressure is applied to it, whether that's on top, in front, wherever. Unfortunately, that's just gone off a little bit early, so the officials have to get rid of that before they finish so that she can get an official time.
Now Mika, she worked that underwater again off the turn, and she's pulled away down this second 50 to come into touch there. 102.88. So really starting to get close to those national times now. Elliot, get the program out, get your eyes working, because I think we're in for a bit of a show in these next few heats.
Very, very impressive swim there. Just under 2 second PB, 1.5 second PB. So congratulations to the young girl. Not too far to go.
As we move on to Heat 8, we hit our circle-seated heat, so our fastest athletes swimming out of the middle lanes for the next 3 heats in a row. We're going to start to see some quick swims. A few of these girls come into this race sub the minute. One of those women being Lucy Doyle in lane 4. What a competitor she's been across the last few years of racing.
Something that's convenient for me, and it's because I swam at Nana for so long, so I know, but when they're wearing the cap, Nuttawading, with the blue stripe down the middle, that means that that's a national cap. So I can tell that these girls already have their national time, so I don't need to worry about getting excited because they've already got it. But do you know if any other clubs present like a special nationals cap?
Yeah, a lot of them do. I know at a few of the clubs the side of the cap actually says national on it. So below the logo or the emblem, it will say national. And then a couple of the other teams, they haven't started introducing that racing stripe as a bit of a signal. I don't actually know what colours individual clubs are, but I do know that, yeah, a lot of them present those national caps as a bit of a congratulations, as we've just watched Lucy Doyle do a personal best here this morning, 59.24. This competition is really good in the lead up to nationals. It's a 3-day meet with heats and finals, and our nationals it's about 7 days long, so athletes need to be aware that they're going to be racing, and if they're trying to swim, you have to swim fast in the heats. So this is a good opportunity for our swimmers at that top level to have an opportunity a month out from nationals to really test out their strategies and try and race fast in the heat session. And Lucy Doyle, 59.2. Setting the pace for these other girls.
Very good swim there. We'll see Kiara Jeffs coming up later, who won the 100 fly last night and the 200 IM. Lucy Doyle came 3rd and 2nd in those races respectively. Very close race in the 200 IM, 0.07 seconds separating the two of them.
Yeah, they were stroke for stroke down the last 50. Kira, definitely a name to remember. Put that one on your list. She's had a fantastic couple of years as well. And those two girls, they're very competitive as well. This age group, there's a lot of girls who are super close together on times. So we don't only see them racing at these meets side by side, but when we get to nationals, they go side by side as well.
Sorry, I'm getting excited here for Zara Gamboa. Looks like she's going for a national time. She's 0.2 outside of it, so we'll see if she can hold on for this last 50. She was 2nd at the turn, really putting herself in contention with the girls there, and she's got it. 61.7. Well done to lane 2. Zara Gamboa gets under the national time. Congratulations.
I love that you can see it from the crowds as well. We've got the team over there from Western Melbourne Propulsion. They were cheering her on down that second 50, and the celebration when the time popped up on the wall is always that bit of a giveaway of if someone's done something impressive.
Oh, whoops, I've circled the wrong athlete. Even Jim Murray won the race. I circled the national time getter, not the... All right, my mistake. Okay, we're back on. Here we go.
10th and final heat of the girls 14-15 years 100-metre freestyle. Down this first 50, it is Kira already starting to push her way up into the lead. She's always had that really dominant kick. Up alongside her is Zara Jeffrey. Wasn't quite as good in the first 25, but she's just moved her way up alongside as they come down under the flags.
We've got 3 medalists from last night in the middle 3 lanes, or 3 of the middle lanes. Kiara Jeffs last night, medalist, as we said, in the 100 fly and 200 IEM. Zara Jeffrey just got touched out by her, silver medal, and Grace Doby won the 200 breaststroke. So we've got a wide range of athletes here, all entered in the 100-metre freestyle, but it looks like it's going to be Kiara Jeffs to lead from start to finish.
Yeah, so Kira now coming down to touch 58. So fastest swim we've seen now, 0.91. She'll be our quickest qualifier into tonight's final. Zara Jeffrey, 100.36, and Alia Wong over in 3 touches in a 101.59. I think this could be another exciting race this afternoon. You know, if Lucy's gone a 59.2 this morning, she does like to lift in a final. Got a 58.9. It's not a massive difference to be kind of in the mix, and we'll see what plays out later on today when we come back for finals from 5 p.m. live on our YouTube stream for Swimming Victoria and on KO Freebies.
We now move into event number 47, the men's 16 and over 200-metre breaststroke. 3 heats, which means all 3 heats are seeded. See, this is the perfect number, 30 athletes. They've nailed this qualifying time.
Nailed.
The qualifying time is perfect for this event. Every qualifying time should be like this qualifying time.
I do love the setup when each race is kind of mirrored for the time frame. So when you have 3 heats of 200s and then they just have 6 heats of 100s and a maximum of 12 heats of 50s, and they all play out around the same time. 200-metre breaststroke, 16 and over, so you can be any age above 16. We have a little bit of a mix. Some of our older athletes around 27 years of age, a couple of 22-year-olds in there, all the way through to our, obviously, 16-year-olds being the youngsters in this field. A lot of experience, though, coming up, and a lot of great breaststrokers. Victorian swimming has really excelled in breaststroke for quite a few years now.
Well, currently we've got one of the best in Australia, Sam Williamson, and up-and-comers like Cameron Jordan, Calvin Reid, Will Petrick, in those younger age groups, still in the Opens, but really putting their name on the national stage.
Yeah, I was having a look at the age records yesterday, and Will Petrick holds quite a lot of them around that 14 to 16-year mark.
Yeah, he's a bit of a sweat, isn't he?
Absolute legend.
Nah, overrated. His mum's lovely, though. I love her.
Oh.
Shout out to Catherine.
As we come down now for the final 50, it is Sam Matheson in lane 5 who's led us through. Not far behind him is Thomas Dale over in lane 3, and Jacob Nimmo in the middle lane there, just having a pretty cruisy swim here.
Sam Matheson, actually, speaking of Will Petrick, very similar to Will, this style. Very similar. Gets nice and high in the water, leaves the elbows a little bit wide up, but kicks into that glide very nicely.
It's that Nunawading breaststroke as he takes out heat 1 in a 2:25.96 ahead of Thomas, 2:26.40, and Nimmo there in third, 2:30.99.
I found that scarily similar. That actually looked like Will.
If it works, use it.
Exactly. Trying to see if there's anyone I can get excited about.
There's always someone to get excited about.
For Nationals watch. Jack Gonzalez there with a small PB. Down from a 37 to a 36. Next step for him is down to that 2:33 to get under that national time.
So just quickly, Elliot, what are the age times for the 16, 17?
So
what are we looking at? What times should we be seeing? Around abouts.
So for the 16 and over category now, I do actually like what they've done at Swimming Australia in the last 5 years. So there's a 16, 17 and 18-year-old time for the men's, which is 2:35, 2:33 and 2:32 respectively for 16, 17, 18. But then they've also got a 19, 20 years, which is swum with the Open National Championships. So that just keeps our athletes involved, because they found that once you turn 18, you're in the open age group and you're going up against people like Mitch Larkin. And as a kid, as a fresh 18-year-old or 19-year-old who's just left school, and you're going up against someone like that, it's just a bit too big of a jump. So they added in this 19, 20-year-old age group to be swum with the Opens, and it just helps people stay involved for a little bit longer. So the qualifying time for them is at 2 minutes 31.60. The 3 athletes in the middle of the pool, or the 4 athletes in the middle of the pool, all have that time already. Despite whether they are actually in that 18-19 age group, that they have that time to go to Open Nationals if they want to go there and compete.
So taking us around at the 100-metre turn, it is Lockie Chan, 111.54, with Darcy Stewart hot on his heels, 112.65, and sitting in third, Harry Heath, very, very tight with Jack Gurry at that 100-metre turn.
I love Lachlan Chan's breaststroke. You count, this kid won't do many more than 15 strokes a lap.
The efficiency
is beautiful. He rips the water with his arms. His legs come in a little bit later, but you'll notice how they extend out. He points the toes. He makes his body as long as possible between his fingertips and his toes. Very, very efficient. In the first 50 of the 200 breaststroke at the Olympics, any guesses on Zach Stubblety-Cook's stroke count?
Well, I do know that he turned in about 8 at the first wall and then built his way through, especially in the swim where he broke the world record. I can't imagine it would have been many, though.
He takes anywhere between 9 and 10 strokes for the first 50, and that's a world record swimmer. So just because you take more strokes and you swim up higher doesn't necessarily mean better. Breaststroke is the freest, easiest speed you'll get through the extension of the stroke. But a nice last 50 there, 35.66, coming home faster. All first 3 athletes all finishing faster than that third 50 that they had. So 2 minutes 24.87, very respectable time. It's very tricky trying to spot which guys are 15, 16, 17, 16, 17, and then the open age groups.
Well, you know, we had to keep you busy this morning.
We've got Josh Hargraves here competing in lane 8. I saw him do the 100 freestyle yesterday. Then he posted on his Instagram, it's the fastest time he'd done in 9 years for the 100-metre freestyle. So looking as good as ever, the young man.
That is very, very exciting to me. We are seeing that shift within our elite level teams now for slightly older athletes. The average age of medal winners at the Olympics has gone up to 24 and a half. So we're just seeing now people are able to stay in the sport a lot longer than we used to. And it's great to have them still doing personal bests at the beautiful young age of 27.
I don't know if he'll agree with the term young, but the beautiful age of 27 I can go along with.
I'm going with 27 is young.
I don't know. I can't talk too much rubbish about it. I'm going to be there soon. Oh, I'm 27 next year. Oh,
Same.
That makes me physically ill.
As the boys come now with just 10 metres left in the first 100, leading us through the Stoop in lane 4. Nicholas Stupas following him onto the wall. Thomas Sutherland. And then very, very close between Max Malone and George Huang. The two Surrey Park athletes side by side. This third 50, got to be really powerful on, but try not to spin the wheels. Sometimes athletes can just start slipping a little bit more on the water here. They're trying to put in that extra effort, but it sort of works in reverse for them.
Yeah, it's as we were talking about before. Most coaches will say to the athlete, I want you to build into the race. I want you to get faster as it goes. And by thinking you're getting faster, you're actually just maintaining your speed. So if you put in 85, 90, 95%, 100%, those last 350s need to be as close as possible. The goal is within half a second. You want to be consistent. But you don't do that by spinning your arms faster. You do that by holding the same amount of water and trying to rip the stroke back as hard as you can, but not necessarily faster.
So pretty close now between Stoop and Southo here, with Nick just lifting that rate under the flags to take out the third and final heat of the 16 over 200 metre breaststroke in a 2:24.95.